All right. Well, hello everyone, and this is Natalie, and I'm here with Rochelle Venner, and Rochelle came to me and did a free consultation with me because she was looking at human design, and this was back in November, and she was looking at human design because she was recrafting her business. She'd done the corporate life for a while. Parts of that worked and parts of that didn't work. Then she had another business, was a conscious business. And it was time for her to revamp and really go deeper into what's really her authentic self. So she was looking at human design as a tool to support her in that. So welcome, Rochelle. Great to be able to have another conversation with you after your design that we did your human design advanced. And anything that you'd like to say hello?
Yeah, I'm so happy to be back. It was really nice meeting you, and just the work that we did together was so transformative for me. So I've just really enjoyed the connection that we've kept, and I'm happy to be here.
Great. Well, so Rochelle's been in human design terms, we say testing it out or experimenting with her design, with the information that she got. And part of what I do, because I like to make it really practical for people, is I give lots of suggestions or strategies for people to test out. And so she's been doing that for 3 months. And I think it would be good if we just take a look at her design, because I'm sure some people that are watching this have possibly some similarities. So she is a 1-3 profile, manifesting generator, born on the cross of service. Oh, by the way, Rochelle and I have the same birth date. We're both born on March 24th, very different designs, but that could be why we have such a strong connection. But, so 3 months in human design length isn't that long, but, I found in the first 3 months that there were significant changes in my attitude and how I thought about myself. And would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I think in the past 3 months, I'd say my sense of self has been deepening more than ever. And a large part has been having this information. And then there's been so many times in conversations with people where um, things will come up, and then I'll be like, oh, yeah, well, it's because I'm on this path of service, or I have this, or my gate, this is because of this gate connecting to this. So it's just really helped me to understand and deepen my understanding of myself.
Yeah, well, hopefully some of those people are in human design so they can relate to it. But even if not, it's a vibration, it's a frequency that's been awakened in you
Yeah.
um, by having your this particular design that we're looking at with all these numbers and squares and triangles and arrows up and down and all these different things. That's kind of overwhelming when people first look at it, but having it translated can make a huge difference. But I'm curious, like, so after 3 months, if you can give an example of, maybe as being a manifesting generator or being a 1-3 profile, like, what is it that you understand about it now that you didn't um, before we met?
Yeah, well, definitely on the manifestor generator side for sure. I remember when our consultation call, one of the first things you said, I came in so passionate. I think I was like, yeah, a few coffees in, not a lot of sleep, and just go, go, go. And I remember you said the words like, you need to slow down the horsey is one thing. And that stuck with me. I've actually been slowing down a lot more and just learning to work with the design more. Um, Feeling my emotions, because I have the emotional wave too.
Yeah.
Um, the 1-3 profile for me was really interesting to learn about, because, and I actually do have a question on this that that's kind of still there, but it was really nice on the 1-3 profile to learn about how this profile, we tend to really want to dig into things and like want to investigate and get a ton of info. And when you said that, it's funny, I'm like in a cabin isolated by myself by choice for 4 months, and I'm literally just like learning and soaking up all the information I can on these topics I'm really passionate about. And yeah, it's just really affirming to hear that back and know that that's a part of me and that's why I'm like that.
Yeah, studying this for so many years and then meeting people through human design studying, and then of course later on through clients, how to see that theme of the profile shows up. And it's very common for a 1-3 to just like disappear.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm hiding out over here, I'm studying, or I'm into something, or I'm feeling a little insecure and I'm just not ready to be seen. So the whole kind of theme of hiding out, people can label that as there's something wrong with me, or I'm isolating, there's something wrong with me, when actually it's really healthy. It's a healthy part of your process to do that. And, a 1-3 profile, what I know as an analyst, when people come to me, it's like, oh, sure enough, they're going to want to bucket. They're, kind of buck the system, or they're going to want to, they're going to want to know, they're going to want to challenge a little bit. And so you did that to me at the very beginning. And I was like, even through emails, I'm like, oh my gosh, she asked such great questions. So all of that is like the 1-3. It's like, I want to know so I can feel more secure, because the 1 is the foundational line. And we can't, to build a house, there has to be a solid foundation. And that's one of the greatest gifts that I think that the 1-3 brings, is to really help themselves and then eventually help others really set a strong foundation.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's interesting the challenge that seems to come, and I'm wondering if this is related to the 1-3 profile. It might be something else in my chart, but I tend to and that's just natural. That's always been me. I'll dive so deeply and just like soak up all the information I can. I've learned so much. And I'm really inspired to bring that forward and to be able to like package it and bring it forth in a way that's succinct and clear and bite-sized and not so big. So sometimes I tend to get tripped up, and I'm not sure if it's 1-3 profile or something else, with overcomplicating things, or things being like just having all this info and struggling a little bit then to condense it and then to bring it forward in a simple, clear way. Would you say that's 1-3, or is that something else?
Well, it could be the 1-3. I mean, certainly, making it a little bit more in a bite size, and, like the digging deep, and then like, okay, like still the 3 is like, they want to take action. They're more flexible, they're adaptable. So that would certainly have a part of it. I think too, part of your real drive to help others comes from this line of energy right here, the 14 to the 2 to the 1 to the 8, even though it is very, very individual, and an individual energy, or like there's different circuitries within human design. I kind of look at it like, behind stage of a rock concert, there's all these wires, there's the green, and there's the black, and there's the red and the yellow, and they each have a different purpose. Well, this wire here, or this electric current, this, the 14, the 2 wants to take this energy that it's got from the sacral and, give people direction. But in a very authentic, different way. This is very much someone that's really, really great director in teams. So when you worked in the corporate world and had, your coworkers, it was like you were definitely someone that could take the lead with the team. Even though it is very individual, it's like it's inspiring for others. So that could be part of the reason why, what you bring out, you want it to, be more comprehensible, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And this too, this energy here from the root over to the spleen, this is all about service and aliveness and vitality and correcting. And so this too is like, may bring some wisdom, some instinct about, okay, all right, so how do I make this so it's more tangible for people?
Mm.
So there could be a couple of things, just off the top looking here, I'm kind of looking at what's kind of jumping out at me that might bring that. So, but I'd love to hear, like, you just, this is what this energy here, the 14 to the 2 to the 1 to the 8, this is what makes you a manifesting generator, because it's the sacral is connected to the throat. And you talked about slowing down and pausing, pulling over to the side of the road, so to speak, at the rest stop. But I think it's really, I really want to acknowledge you for that, because it's not easy to change your pace. It's an invitation for manifesting generators to change their pace, especially in the early experiential stage, so that you can kind of see yourself, a moment of reflection, like, oh my God, how did I get here? Because that manifesting generator energy can move really fast. And sometimes they skip steps, and they get, some frustration from all of that. But really, I think you brought up a really important point about really slowing your pace down. And it may or may not always have to be like that. Once this gets more wired and embodied, which was one of the things that you came to me for, is like, how do I embody this? And, so once this, gets a little bit more embodied, the pace will set itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think even just knowing like why I push so hard, I'm actually on now the down part of a really like a little bit of a burnout stage right now of resting, and I am giving myself rest, but it's very easy, like you were saying, for me to just get really caught up in it and not even realize how hard and fast I'm going, and then to just burn out. So yeah, as much as I can, it's definitely like you said, like embodying it, it's such a work in progress to actually recognize when I'm in the like fast, like driving intense energy, to let myself slow down, because I don't want to. Like, I'm loving that energy and the wave and the ride of it. So
Yeah, for sure. It's a fun energy. And I see that with other manifesting generators. It's like, even when they're not feeling well, or like you said, recovering from a little bit of burnout, they're still like, okay, what can I get done today?
yeah.
What are the 10 things I can do today? And to just give yourself permission to not do that. So as much. And
Right.
it's all about self-awareness. It's not like anything's wrong or broken, or you're going to do it perfect every day. It's really just being aware.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
so
Yeah.
any other things that are coming up for you around your design at kind of at the 3-month mark?
Well, I think definitely. So there's two areas that I think, like the conditioning and the deconditioning, kind of around the open ego center. That's something that I've always been really interested on, like working on my open centers, and especially I think that's the ego center, right?
Yeah, great. Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because about 65 to 70% of the people on the planet, which is a lot, have it open like this, have it not colored in. And so, and yet on top of that, that you've got these other gates that the 51 is turned on by your Mercury, and the 26 is turned on by your Uranus. And in a way, we could look at the 37 as well, which is over here, and that's your moon, unconscious moon. So when the ego center, the willpower center, most of the Western world is pretty much conditioned to push forward and do it, and the will to do. There's this whole thing about especially in the coaching world and professional development and all that, about keeping your word, and make your promises and keep your promises. And it's not so easy for people that have an undefined ego. It may be in the moment when they're with other people, or with a client or friends or whatever, and oh yeah, let's do that tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and it's like the will to keep pushing is not there. So some of the traditional human design discussion around the conditioning was to not make promises, to not try to prove yourself. And so what I mean about not making promises, it's, well, in the world that we live in, and I also, is a high value for me, is to keep our word. So it's like in your words, when you're, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do it. It's just a way of saying, I hear you, you want it by Tuesday, I'll do my best. I just want you to know it might not be there by Tuesday, but I'll do my best. And then that way, if it is ready on Tuesday, great. And if it's not, then you're not going to feel bad, because this is self-esteem is in here. And so there's a lot of conditioning in our society for people to compete, for people to prove themselves, for people to, just do it, just make it happen. And it's not so easy for people that have an open center like that. So there's a lot of conditioning, and then now where you're in a stage of deconditioning, of just being aware of, like running into somebody that you went to high school with or college, and the other person has had this fabulous career or a fabulous family, or they've just seemed to have it all together, and they're telling you how wonderful their life is, and yours is not so great at that moment, and it's like there's a part of you that want to, like, prove yourself, where actually that's not what you're about. It's more about, gosh, I'm really happy for you.
Okay.
And I don't even want to get into this discussion, because I know I'm going to feel bad. Right?
Yeah.
So self-esteem right there, our worth, wanting to be loyal, wanting to be, for people to be able to count on you, but it's just not always there. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Would you say that with the open center that, or the open ego center, that people with that would struggle more with self-esteem and self-worth?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's so interesting. What sense of self has been, and that's why a lot of what I'm working on building is around that area. That's been a huge theme in my life. So that's, are there any major tips on working with sense of self, self-esteem, and all of
Well,
that?
I think just the awareness that it's not consistent, and that it's connected to willpower, and it's also the heart. Some say, biologically, this is the heart. And so, can people come to a place where I'm not here to prove myself? There's nothing to prove. I'm already worthy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already, my value is already wired in a different way. Because I have to tell you, coming from someone, I do have a defined ego. And when you have it defined, and I've talked to dozens of people that do as well. It's like, we don't feel like it's a big deal. We don't even know that we've got this thing inside of us, but yet, if we've got a big gathering and we got to clean up afterwards and we got to go, we got to have the will to do that work, because it is about work. It is about being consistent. It also, the ego, if it's defined, it does like to rest. It wants to get something from it. But there can be a lot of friction in relationships if one person has it colored in and one person doesn't. It's a really big deal in relationships. It's good if you do not have a defined ego like this, is to be with someone else who does not have it. That way there isn't that push-pull. But, just for me in my personal life, raising my son who doesn't have a defined ego, if I would want him to do something and, I would exert my will on him, it would amplify and he would throw it back at me. And then I'm like taken out. So, everybody's thinking, oh, great, you got a defined ego. Well, only if I'm with other people that have a defined ego is it so great. Because I really have to watch that I don't exert my willpower. So that's a great one to keep flushing out. It's not an easy one. It's not as easy as, the emotional center kind of noticing the wave and you have that colored in. And a lot of it is just, society or the collective conditioning around, exerting our will.
Right. Yeah, I definitely noticed that when if others exert their will on me, it could be partly me being an Aries, but it's an automatic no. Like I feel a lot of pushback inside when that happens.
Yeah, that's what would happen with my son. It didn't get done. Whatever I was trying to push my will to get done, did not get done.
Yeah.
It just came right back at me. But it's great questions.
Yeah.
Well, let's just kind of wrap this up. Is there any other things that you wanted to bring up or?
Well, I definitely love to know a little bit more about the split definition. I know that's something that I'm still wrapping my head around. I feel like it's like a little bit more of a complicated way of being that trips me up, maybe more than people without a split definition.
Yeah, people with a split definition, they experience, now I don't have a scientific, example here, but just from talking to people, that they get a lot of conditioning or there's like an obsession to wherever the split is. And it's different for everyone. Everyone has a different split. One of the interesting things about your chart that make it a little bit tricky to understand, some of the parts of yourself is because of the conscious and unconscious. So really the only channel that you have that's totally conscious is the 14 to the 2. And that's that leadership. That's that being able to guide and direct and to build something. And the rest of these are kind of like half and half. So that makes it a little bit challenging for you to, really grasp some of these parts of yourself. Then we look at the next level of the split, and it's this energy here, from the 37, the emotional center, you got the 19 to the 49, and then the channel of sensitivity, and the 58 to the 18, that channel of correcting. So these three centers are all in communication, but not with these three, with the sacral. So I would say, one of the places that would be challenging for you, if you had the 9, that would connect these two different pieces, or if you had the 50.
Okay.
That would give these pieces of, those three centers connected to the other. And not that there's anything wrong or broken, again, self-awareness. It's like, so you could be the 52, I think, is the one that really wants to get connected
And what's
because
the
it's part of your incarnation cross. So this is that stillness. This is that ability to focus in on the details. So again, back to one of your earlier questions, it's like, I want to get to the details. So there could be an obsession around focus. Can I really focus and, get into the nitty gritty? I don't want it too big. I want to get into the nitty gritty. So this kind of came up organically, that's part of what's answering one of your other questions.
definitely.
As the other part of your split here was the 50th gate. So the 50th is about values, and it's much connected to people and tribe and caring for people and taking care of things, being the overseer or like the custodian. So this part is the nurturer, the 27, and the 50 is, the values, what's important here.
Right.
So you can get a little tripped up or be obsessed or, concerned about, are you in line with the values, and are other people aligned with their values? So just notice as you are continuing your human design journey, when you get close to people or form a friendship or a business relationship, it's like, do they have the 9 or do they have the 50 and not the other half? And then just notice how that feels. Does it feel good and it feels like it's really supporting you and what you're co-creating together? Or sometimes it can not be. I can't say every person you meet that has just the 9th gate, they're going to be your best friend. That's what people want to hear from me. I'm like, well, I don't know. From my research with other split definitions, you will definitely attract people that have the 9, and some will fit. There'll be an attraction, but we're multidimensional beings. That's just one piece of the puzzle, is
Right.
someone having the 9.
And I think you mentioned, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, it will take time. It will take time to really kind of get a grasp on this. And also, as you do your own research with the kind of people that come into your life.
Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah, because I think you're not a split definition, right?
I'm not. No, I'm a single definition. This is my chart here.
This is
See, everything's conscious here. So all my conditioning is unconscious. I'm very aware of, this is who I think I am. This is my whole personality here.
right.
But, this is, where all the real juice is here in the unconscious.
Okay.
So, yeah. So see there, I'm born on the 24th of March as well. So,
Yeah.
well, I think that, these have been great questions. And I hope that this conversation helps people that are watching, and also helps you continue on the next phase of your human design journey. And it's been great connecting with you. And if people want to share what their design is or what they got, put some notes below, or put something in the comments. And we look forward to doing more interviews like this with people that are exploring their design.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nattalee. It's been amazing. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Been great fun. Thank you, Rochelle.